Yeah, go ahead if you want to. Which should we start, top or bottom?
Let's stop.
Let's start top and work our way down.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna
Yeah.
say exactly that.
Copy. You're just opposite.
Yeah, no, I was gonna do the opposite. No, I like this
Go
better. So we
top
will go
down.
from
Go top
okay,
down.
so we will go left to right then. Left to center to right. Okay, so at left wing we have the captain Luke Bignall. Uh, so do you just want to do one guy at a time and then kind of get into
Um,
him, or
well, I mean, we could do the line. Like, I mean, we got Bignall on left wing, Evan Vierling at center, and Tyson Forrester on right wing. So basically, the idea there is, I think Bignall on that top line on the wing. Um, I think that's better served. I think he would do a great job, like making room for those guys. I still think Vierling and Forster are the top guys on the team. So I mean, when I'm looking at the Colts and where they're at, like these three are going to be. I'm expecting these three to be big time scorers. Like these guys are the guys that are going to be putting up the massive numbers. So I got them at the top there. Bignall, obviously coming back, captain. He's an overager. The Colts actually only have two overagers. They have him and Victor Hadfield. So, I mean, they can add another one, and they could also make moves and trade, and it'd be interesting to see how that shakes out. But yeah, Bignall on the left side. What do you think? You think him on the wing is good? Like we're kind of overrun with centers if you go through this in detail, but
yeah, we've got, and especially depending, I mean, as we go through the list and kind of start to bring up some of the other names, we will kind of see how clogged up we are at that position. I agree with you. I think that obviously with Vierling and Forrester being top pairing guys, I think Bignall would be a great fit with them. He's great as far as getting kind of pucks through to guys, and he'll kind of be able to stand up for guys. He's a really, he's got that grit to him.
fast. He's a good skater, right?
Great at face-off. So all of a sudden we have a guy that's able to, win some draws, and then you have Vierling out there and Forrester who is going to put up a lot of goals. It's not something that it's not a bad situation for them. He throws size around, so guys might be a little bit more hesitant to kind of throw a shot at Vierling or Forrester. And I mean, he's coming off of a career year. He ended up with 14 goals last season. It was the first time the Bignall has surpassed 10 goals in his or the 10 goal mark in his career. 23 assists as well for a total of 37 points. So it's we don't have a lot of I mean, Porco could maybe get up in that spot, but I don't think I have him up there over Bignall. Bignall's better chance of scoring some goals. I don't know. I don't see really anybody else kind of getting that top spot on the left side over him. So I think Vierling, Forrester, and Big E's the way to go. I mean, yeah, Forrester. Sorry, you were gonna say, go on.
No, I was gonna to finish off talking about Bignall. Like he always, like for the last couple of years, he's had that speed, and he's just such a grinder, so gritty. He's I think he's got developed over the last year the hands to be able to make finesse passes, finish the puck, finish plays. So I don't know. I think he will be on the top line at least to start. But yeah, he's gonna have to keep up with the two big guys. Like you were just about to go into Tyson Forrester. We got him on the right wing there.
Yeah. No. Exactly.
Yeah, Forrester, man. Like I guess he's up for the NHL draft this year. Whenever that decides to happen, I don't know. I don't know when that's gonna happen, but yeah, he's got that big shot. Like just like an absolute like howitzer. There was a thing that I saw recently about his basically his spray chart, where he took all his shots this year, and there's a ton taken from from that left side. He loves that spot on his off wing, just kind of like hammer those one-timers. He got a lot of goals this year. What did he end up with? 36. And yeah, look at the gap. Like, he had 80 points last year, and the next highest total was 47. That's Cardwell. And also Brown had 47. But, I mean, yeah, 80 points, that's a big gap, but it's a little misleading. Like, I mean, he had different guys over the season. Ryan Suzuki he started with, finished with Vierling. So he's always kind of been with a playmaker. I think he played with Bakar a bit too. So it's not like he held the team like that. That's a little misleading, but he found chemistry with everyone, and he's going to be a big prospect. Like, being able to put the puck in the net, that NHL ready shot. Bob McKenzie ranked him in the first round, so yeah, who knows? Like, he could go pretty much anywhere. Like, he's a big time superstar. I put up a poll. If he will beat the Barrie Colts single season record of 53 goals. I think the majority said yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
And I not that it's mandatory to say what you voted for, but I voted that he would surpass that. So, and obviously we'll see. Like, it's so tough to guess, especially when we don't even know what's going to be happening as far as hockey goes, So, like, if we end up getting hockey, what's the camp going to look like? What's the preparation for a season going to look like? There's so many factors, but with how he improved just going into the last season. And last year was a season that I think that we all had pretty high expectations for Forrester. But he ended up just demolishing, I think, what the majority of people kind of had anticipated for him last year, especially in a season that was cut short. You figure it was what? I think he played 62 games last season, and he ended up over like tripling his goals from the season before. So it's going to be really good to see kind of how he can, especially because, like you said, like, he kind of did move around from guy to guy. Yeah, guys like Vierling and Suzuki were both talented guys, but he was kind of adjusting to different guys at the same time. So if he can end up like maybe getting the season with like Bignell and Vierling, and he can really, really develop that chemistry with these guys, who knows what kind of numbers he can end up putting up.
Yeah, he's a beast. Oh man, I can't even believe how good his shot is. But yeah, he's Barrie born, and I guess he's Innisfil, but he played Barrie Junior Colts AAA. It's a big draft for Barrie. Like, they got James Hardy had a lot of goals this year. There's a lot of guys. Alec Belanger, there's a few guys I like. So for the Barrie area, it's a big draft, and Forrester's at the top of that. So yeah, it's going to be fun to see how he does. Yeah, it's interesting with the current situation. Like, just to touch on it, I had a thought. So if fans aren't able to go to games, I mean, at least we have this new streaming service. They announced that there's going to be a new streaming service, which is like music to my ears. Like, I was so happy when I heard about that. It was definitely needed. The OHL Live was kind of a bit of a debacle. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. Like, I mean, even if we're not able to go to the games, because who knows, like, when that could be. I don't know. Everyone I asked a bunch of people today. Everyone I asked thinks it could be something different, but yeah, at least it'll be the new streaming service. I don't think the OHL even came out with anything, but the WHL initially came out with an article, and they said that it was going to be for all the leagues, and it was going to be CHL. So,
so at least there's that. Generally, the OHL is really good at putting news like that out there in a timely fashion.
Yeah, they could have followed up on it, but
they absolutely could have.
The WHL went first, and
thanks, Dub.
So yeah, it's good news, but Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I don't know if before we get into the second line, I don't know if you wanted to maybe sing Shawn Michaels' music for us again, or no? Okay.
uh,
So we'll jump into the second line
well,
then, I guess, since
let's
we're
do a little on Veerling. I just wanted to mention about him, like, just such a smooth skating player. Like we talked about Evan Veerling on these podcasts a lot. Um, he yeah, he was former second overall pick. Like it's going to be interesting to see where he goes in the NHL draft. I think he's definitely a draft player. So I'd expect to see him. I'm just going to guess fourth round. Um, I just think he kind of fits in the middle, like of the draft. Like I think he's a guy that he's not going to go till the very end. Someone's going to want to lock him down just because that speed. Like he's just got that blazing speed, wicked hands. Like keep up with the quick feet. So yeah, I don't know. I think that would be a good first line for Barrie. I think you're looking um, probably at like yeah, a lot of points. I mean,
oh,
I'd expect Bignell, like, I mean, if he stays up there, probably around like 80, 90. So yeah, I got high hopes for this top line.
well, even with Veerling, I mean, like with him last season, I mean, he played what 28, yeah, 28 games after being moved here from Flint. He ended up like he was over a point a game. He ended up with 12 goals, 22 assists in those 28 games. So I mean, that's 34 points in 28
Wow.
games. And again, like he's going to be playing, as we said, where he's going to be able to develop more chemistry and a little bit more, become more familiar with his line mates. So it's going to be really, really nice to see what kind of, I mean, what his production is going to be like with more than just, just under 30 games under his belt. So now we're going to take a look at the second line that you came up with. Starting from left wing, we have Nicholas Porco. At center, we have now, I'm going to possibly butcher this. I apologize in advance. Stanislav Vrel. It kind of looks like the way the kids spell shell when they talk about NHL. Um, but the 25th overall pick. And then at right wing, you have Ethan Cardwell.
Yeah, yeah, starting, I guess we'll start at the center. Stanislav Vrehel. Vrhel. So pronounce that however you will. Yeah, he looks like a good player. Like he's really, really tall. Like I think he's like 6'1", but he looks like he's growing and yeah, like just kind of a physical force down the middle. I was reading some articles on him. Basically, he's projected to do well in the O if he comes because he is big and strong, but he also has some skill. So he's going to be able to like stick handle in the small areas, but also like get out and muscle, and so that'll be good if he signs. Like I really hope that the Colts can get him to commit. There's a lot of talk at the import draft. Uh, just because of COVID, teams weren't able to quite do as much as they normally do. But yeah, really hoping that the Colts get him. He's a late 2002 born, so he'll actually be in the 2021 draft. That's interesting because we got Brant Clark in that draft already. So the Colts could have a pretty strong draft class next year, depending on like how Jacob Frasca, Ryan Del Monte do. It could be pretty strong with Braille and Clark at the top there. But yeah, just I found one video of him. I guess he was doing a shootout and kind of deked the goalie. Another one, he kind of deked the other way, put it upstairs. So looks like he's got some skill, but it's hard to tell. Hopefully he shows up for camp and makes a big splash this year.
Yeah, and I mean, the only stuff I really know is just basically anything that I've kind of gotten from you. So I rely on you for that heavily in this case, but obviously not being able to say his name correctly. But we both guessed, and guessing is fun.
Well,
Uh,
with Brea, like he made it to the top of Liga, so that's actually pretty solid. Like the Finnish Liga is the Finnish Pro League, right? Um, he's a Czech player. Yeah, he made it right to the like he only played a few games, but he's pretty young to be playing at that level. So that was
yeah.
kind of promising to see, like kind of a guy that's not super no he's not known well over in North America. So
Mhm.
um yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he's on the Colts next year. Really hope so. Projecting him as a second line center, so that will be huge if they can get him, especially for next year's competitive team. The year after that is expected to be the big year, so he would basically be going into his second year as a drafted player. Yeah, don't want to get ahead of ourselves. He's got to ink a deal, right? But
Mhm.
really, really kind of an exciting prospect that we hope will be in Barrie.
And it's as we've said, we just got to kind of sit back and see what ends up happening as far as the season goes. Right wing, you had Ethan Cardwell, who was great for the Colts after coming over from Saginaw last season. I mean, he played well for Saginaw, but then he ended up coming to Barrie, and he ended up being a point a game player. He ended up finishing second in team scoring for the Colts. So it's just with a guy like him, he played great here, and the only reason he wouldn't be considered for a top spot is because, well, Tyson Forrester is on the team. So you're gonna take, and I mean Forrester almost doubled the point production as well. So
Yeah.
but he was great with the Colts. I mean, like I said, he finished second for points. He got 11 goals and 15 assists in 26 games with Barrie. So he ended up pretty much scoring one goal last thing he did with Saginaw, but he played 11 more games there than he did here. So, I mean, just looking at the roster here for me, I mean, he'd probably be a lock for that, at least being in the top six. So I think you have him in a good spot here. What do you want to add about Cardwell?
Oh yeah, no, he's definitely locked in the top six. Like we know Dale Hawerchuk, he loves to shuffle the lines. Well, Dale Hawerchuk, um, hopefully he's back. Like apparently he's been doing really well. So I'm just assuming he's gonna be back. But yeah, like they just love shuffling the lines around. So he'll be all over the place. But he's firmly in the top six. He's another guy like when I look at this year's NHL draft, he's eligible. Um, he looks like similar to Veerling. I'd probably rate him a little bit lower. Maybe not as fast and agile, but really, really high skill level and pinpoint accuracy on his shot. So we saw a bit of that when he got some power play time when the Colts had some injuries. Took over Brian Little night. It was a 4-goal first period. Like it's just incredible. So he's a fiery kid, and yeah, they did well with that trade. Like that. I mean, you're giving up Ryan Suzuki, so like getting a piece like that is needed. And I know for sure that Barrie insisted on Cardwell being part of that trade. I know Saginaw did not want to part ways with him, but yeah, Barrie did well to get him. Like I mean, him and Veerling, in my opinion, were the best 2002 born players available on the trade market last year, and we got both of them. Gave up Suzuki and Tyler Tucker for that, and that's the price you got to pay, right? Because I mean, you look right now, Tyler Tucker, Ryan Suzuki are at NHL camps, phase 3,
Hmm.
so those are big names, and we kind of traded for guys that are going to kind of peak, yeah, like next year, year after. So, um, yeah, I really like Cardwell. I think he's going to go like 5th round to 6th round. If he doesn't get drafted, that would be a mistake by teams, in my opinion. But yeah, we'll see how that
And
goes.
it, and a fun note too on Cardwell is after the trade, Suzuki in Saginaw only got 9 more points than he did in Barrie. after coming here.
wow.
So yeah, you could
Even with Perfetti, eh? Wow.
Suzuki
I
got.
thought they-
I mean, it is. I mean, Cardwell played in 3 more games than Suzuki did in Saginaw, but even still, I mean, 9 points.
That's good.
That's
Yeah.
very good. So, that's pretty promising. And yeah, and he looked great. I mean, he kind of like had aspects where kind of like you said, like it was similar to like Bierling, maybe not as quick and stuff like that, but. And another thing actually I was going to mention too was he did one of those things that the Barrie Colts did on Instagram where they kind of let a player take over social media to answer questions. And he seemed to a lot of the other like players on the team were in the group, and everyone seemed to be really getting along with him, and he seemed to have a really good rapport with the guys. So it's nice to see. He's just another guy that apparently keeps morale up, and if we, any guy we can get on the team that seems to fit in and get along with the other players, that's kind of the kind of atmosphere that we want here. Is like everybody is here, everybody's on the team, and the more you see these guys getting along, the better. The chat kind of got a little bit out of control at times, and all of a sudden they kind of like filtered the questions a little bit better than they did, but it was that was a fun watch.